is one habit that almost always tells you whether a person will keep going or quit again. Not in a year, not in 5 years, not even in a few months, but in the first weeks, sometimes in the first days, sometimes before they even realize it themselves. It shows up very early, but it's quiet. It doesn't look like a problem. Most people don't notice it because it's disguised as being reasonable, as common sense, as taking care of yourself. It's not about motivation, not about goals, and definitely not about willpower. It doesn't look heroic. People don't like to show it in videos, and they rarely talk about it directly, because when you talk about it honestly, it makes people uncomfortable. It's unpleasant because it destroys the most convenient and most loved excuse. If you make decisions based on how you feel, you've already lost. Not because you're weak, not because you have the wrong personality, and not because something is wrong with you, but because mood is the most unreliable compass there is. Not because it's bad, but because it has a completely different purpose. It's not designed for decisions, not designed for long-term processes, and not designed for stability. It's designed to react, to change, and to adapt to the environment. It changes every day, sometimes every hour, sometimes every 10 minutes, and sometimes for no clear reason at all. And yet, for some reason, you let it decide whether you act or postpone again, whether you continue or stop. You give it a vote in decisions that shape your life. Your mood says that today isn't the right day, that tomorrow will be easier, that you don't feel like it, that you need to get into the right state, that you need to feel ready, that something needs to click inside first. And you believe it. You believe that voice as if it's rational, as if it's objective, as if it actually knows what's best for you. You believe it as if it's on your side, as if it's protecting you. And in a way, it is. It protects you from discomfort, from effort, and from uncertainty. But the price of that protection is your consistency. Time passes, a week, 2, a month, and you look back and see the same pattern again. You started with intention, with desire, with the feeling that this time would be different. For a few days, things went fine. Then something slipped. Then it got harder. Then resistance appeared, followed by irritation and fatigue. Then you started skipping, then postponing, then cutting back, and then you stopped. The most dangerous part is that you don't even call it failure. You don't say, "I quit," because that hurts. Instead, you say you're taking a break, that it's just a pause, that it's not your period, that now isn't the best time, that you need to recover. You choose words that sound gentle, that don't hurt your self-image, and that allow you to change nothing. That's where the habit dies, quietly, without drama, without the feeling of defeat. And later, you honestly wonder why nothing ever lasts longer than 2 weeks. There are people who don't discuss their state at all. They don't ask themselves if they're ready, if they're in the mood, if they have energy, or if they feel inspired. They don't negotiate with themselves, don't search for excuses, and don't wait for the right moment. They just start. Take David Goggins, for example. He doesn't care how he feels. He doesn't analyze his state or try to understand why today feels hard. He just does what he decided to do. That's an extreme, and most people don't need it. Honestly, it doesn't even fit most lives. Living under constant pressure, constantly breaking yourself, and ignoring everything isn't discipline, it's survival. There's another extreme where it looks like someone always has the right mindset, always has energy, confidence, and focus, as if they never have bad days, never doubt themselves, and never feel tired. Like Greg Plitt. You look at people like that, and it feels like discipline isn't a skill, but a personality trait. Like they were just born that way. Like it's easier for them. Like they're different. And you think it's just easier for them, that it's their nature, that you're not built like that. But the truth is different. Strong people don't feel better. They're not more motivated, and they don't live in a constant high or stay in a permanently good state. They get tired, angry, irritated, and doubtful. They lose interest and energy. Sometimes they don't want to do anything at all. The difference isn't in how they feel. The difference is that they don't factor their mood into their decisions. They can be tired, angry, irritated, empty, unmotivated, and uninspired, and still start. Not because it's easy, and not because they're stronger, but because they decided in advance that their state is not a variable. That's it. One real habit that actually changes everything. I don't make decisions based on how I feel. Not, I feel like it or I don't. Not, I'm in the mood or I'm not. Not, I'll wait until I feel ready. Not, today isn't my day. And not, I'll start when I have energy. There is an action, there is a time, and there is a minimum. That's it. No discussions, no negotiations, and no convincing yourself. Not perfect, not pretty, and not inspiring, but consistent. No mood to train, and you still put on your shoes, even if you know the workout will be weak and today won't be a record. No desire to work, and you still open the file, even if you do less than planned and don't feel progress. No energy, and you do the minimum, the smallest possible step. Not because you're lazy, but because you don't want to break the chain and start from zero again. Not heroically, with no drama, no inspiration, and no need to prove anything to yourself. You just follow the rule. Mood is noise. It will always be there, sometimes louder, sometimes quieter, sometimes almost unbearable. It won't disappear. Discipline is a filter. It doesn't remove the noise, doesn't make you happier, and doesn't make the process pleasant. It simply doesn't allow the noise to influence the decision. As long as you listen to your mood, you're dependent on the weather, on sleep, on circumstances, on how the day went, and on what other people say. When you ignore it, you're free. Not happy, not energized, not motivated, free. Remember one simple thing. Your mood is not an argument. It's not a reason to start, and it's not a reason to stop. And this is exactly where, for most strong people, everything begins.